Light your fire by the river, sleep on the ground. Ramble, 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 it's the only way back home. See the crows come and tell your story to the smoke. What can't hold itself up on the land, I say, let it go. Great grandma, she hit a lightning bolt, no workbench faces wood.
Hello, it is December 19th, and this is not an official episode of A Beginner's Guide to Pack Rafting. I have just been getting so many questions about Alpacka Raft's new whitewater boat, the Mage, that I thought I would give y'all a brief overview of what I think about the boat. I'm qualifying this with I am not a super technical person, and as far as explaining how the boat works technically, but I do have a good feel for all the different boats that I have used, and I love this boat. So here's a little bit of a review or overview of the boat. I hope you enjoy.
Along the way, tell old hawk-eyed nephew there were dingo in my dreams and a coyote on the roadside throwing his eyes up in a tree.
Hello everybody. So I have been getting a lot of questions about the Mage, and it's the new Alpacka Raft whitewater boat, and I love it. And so I wanted to sort of go over some of the reasons why I love it and why I am now going to be using it instead of my Wolverine. So here we go. Okay, so this is the Mage, and this is my Wolverine. Now, the Mage is actually a size small, and the Wolverine's actually a medium small. It's in between a medium and a small, and I actually helped build it 6 years ago or so when I was working at Alpacka Raft. Now, you can see that the tubes of the Mage are a little bit smaller than the tubes of the Wolverine, and you can see that the butt of the Mage is longer than the butt of the Wolverine. It's also longer than the butt of the Narwhal. For those of you who don't know, the Wolverine and the Narwhal are very similar boats, but the Narwhal just has a lot more volume and the tubes are bigger. I started out on a Narwhal for my first year, and it was very stable. And then I went to the Wolverine, and I love the Wolverine because while it felt a little tiny bit less stable, like the first day I used it, I pretty much got used to it very quickly, and it became my go-to boat. However, my go-to boat is now the Mage, and I'm going to tell you why. But first, we'll take a look at some of the other differences between the Mage and the Wolverine. So the seat configuration is totally different. The back band is the same, but there's actually a full-length floor, and in the Wolverine, there is just this, it's probably like, what, 2/3 length floor, and I don't have my foot pillow in here. I love using the foot pillow because it makes my feet flat against the end of the boat. So the bottoms of these boats are really, really different, and I'll show you why. You can see mine are self-bailers. I use self-bailers primarily because I'm more comfortable in them. It's much easier for me to get in and out of the self-bailers than it is for me to get in and out of a decked boat. Easier to bring my dog in a self-bailer, and I'm just more comfortable. I've never liked, I kayaked for 7 years, and I never liked the feeling of being trapped. I have not really truly ever been stuck in my in the decked pack rafts that I have used, and I have used them many times, especially on the Grand Canyon because they are warmer. I haven't really got stuck. That's Saddle right there. He loves pack raft, sort of. Anyway, so I've never been stuck. Like people ask me that question all the time, especially new people. Basically, when you flip over, you do pop out of your boat pretty easily. I have had once or twice, I've had it happen once on the Grand Canyon where I couldn't pull my spray skirt off the deck, and it was mildly scary, but that literally lasted probably 2 seconds. So really, there's not a problem with that. I do use a decked boat in the Grand Canyon because it's so cold. Most of the time, I mitigate my issues with cold by just wearing lots of clothes. Anyway, so the bottom of the boat, you can see how different the bottom of the boat is. Now, I'm not technical, and so I'm not going to be able to explain the edges and how they work. You can find that out on Alpacka Raft's website. I think they have a bunch of videos explaining the new boats, and I will try to link to that in the notes. But my experience with these two boats, you can see the difference between the bottom of the boat. My experience is that the Wolverine has one edge. You get to a certain point and then you flip. My experience with the Mage is it has two edges, and you can see, I mean, I'm guessing it's because of the unique design of the bottom of the boat. So you get on one edge on the Mage, and then you can get on another edge, and it's so freaking cool. So it feels like you're leaning way over, and then you can lean a little bit further over. It's so exciting. So I do have experience with catching eddies, and I'm really good at edging, and I'm really good at leaning in and out of eddies and leaning in and out of the current, carving in and out of the current. I say it's carving like when I'm teaching, it's carving like snowboard carving, or even like when you're on a bicycle and you're taking a corner. It's a similar feeling when you're carving. And I really feel like with the Mage, I can carve a lot more, a lot smoother, more quickly. I can get in and out of eddies better with the Mage and quicker. And you can almost like, I saw Thad when he first used it. Thad's one of our guides, and he like flipped in and out of eddies so quickly. It was so cool and impressive to watch. So I am not knocking the Wolverine. The Wolverine and the Narwhal are great whitewater boats. And if you find one and it's on sale, or you just want something that's maybe more stable, they're great boats to get. I hesitate to really say it's more stable because I feel like the Mage is more stable because of the two edges that you can get on. However, for beginner pack rafters, I imagine it might feel less stable because you're leaning more and you're like very close to the water, and I have seen with beginner pack rafters often that it's very scary to start that carving and leaning process when you're learning how to boat. So I imagine that maybe the Wolverine and the Narwhal would be more stable in that sense when you're staying upright. However, honestly, for anybody who is interested in doing any sort of, even class 2, class 3, class 4, I feel like you'll grow into the Mage. So maybe the learning curve will be a little bit harder initially, kind of like snowboarding is hard initially, but then it gets easier, right? It doesn't take very long for it to get a lot easier. I could be wrong. I am not sure, because I did learn in the Narwhal and I learned in the Wolverine first. But gosh, I have so much more fun in the Mage. It is the most fun boat I've ever used. Granted, I have not used a Valkyrie because I am not a kayaker. I don't ever plan on, doing much. I do a little bit of class 4 if it's local and safe, but my comfort zone and my stoke is really class 3. I feel like a very competent class 3 boater. Yeah, so as I was saying, I feel like a really competent class 3 boater in most water, though I still occasionally swim in class 3 if it's pretty rowdy. So my recommendation is, if you're getting into whitewater, get a whitewater boat. They're a lot more fun. And if you're wanting to like push the levels a little bit, I say get a Mage. Let's see, is there anything else I haven't talked about yet? Oh yeah, so some people have asked me, about the weight of the boats. So the Wolverine is definitely a little bit lighter than the Mage. This is my first pickup test doing this, actually, comparing them side by side. Yeah, it's definitely lighter. The carrying capacity of the Mage, I haven't actually used it on a long trip yet, but I plan on using it on La Venta in January. And my understanding from Steve, who has used it on a long multi-day trip, is that it carries just as much. There's not going to be a problem. Yes, the tubes are a little smaller than my Wolverine, but look at the butt. And the whole boat. There's plenty of room inside the tubes of this boat to carry whatever you need.
'Cause we all live downstream. We all live downstream.